Love to you all, beautiful people. I'm Lisa Concepcion with LoveQuestCoaching.com, and this is the 5 o'clock quarantini. We're all in the lockdown. It is 2020. It is the quarantine, COVID-19 quarantine. And every day at 5 o'clock, I come to you live on a Facebook Live, and then I tape it and I put it on YouTube. So I don't know, this could be on YouTube. You can end up stumbling across this content. I hope it serves you well. Today I am talking about masculine and feminine energy. I'm a life coach who specializes in helping type A professionals who struggle with love. These are people who have their shit together when it comes to their jobs and their careers, but for whatever reason, when it comes to their love lives, they're like, they don't know what's going on. And I help them figure out what's up, because I once was a complete hot mess disaster in my own life when it came to romance and relationships. I was married for 17 years to my college sweetheart, and we went along this journey and we ended up getting divorced, and it was a disaster because at the core, we had so much friendship, so much affinity for one another, so much love there, but because of where we were in our lives and the fact that we weren't raised to really hone in to our true selves, we look to one another to fill ourselves up. And that's always a trap. So after coming out of that divorce and really learning about myself and how to stand on my own emotionally, I was inspired to help other people get over their divorces, get over their breakups, and really tune into who they truly are at the core so that they can then thrive in relationships, mainly the relationship that they have with themselves. They can get back to being connected to themselves, the number one relationship of them all. So in my coaching practice, one of the things that often comes up is this idea of masculine and feminine energies. And I know for sure that in my marriage, I showed up very masculine in my marriage. I showed up immature and I showed up masculine. So I was basically a frightened little girl who was going at the workplace and like going to do her career and holding it down and doing my thing. And I ended up getting resentful. I ended up feeling like I wasn't provided for or safe, that there wasn't a vision for the marriage as a team, and it made me feel really insecure. And so it put me into my masculine fight or flight, go down punching kind of energy. And a woman does not want to feel that way. A woman wants to feel safe. A woman wants to feel protected. And she also wants to feel free to be in her feminine space. So we have a big opportunity, I think, in society, especially Western culture, where women tend to be very masculine. I would say since the 60s, the late 60s into the 70s, there was a massive, massive change for women in the West, and it had to do with reproduction. So the birth control pill came out in the 60s, late 60s, second half of the 60s, and it really changed the way women approached marriage and relationships and even their whole lives. It changed the game. No longer were women in a situation where they left their home to be with a man, to then be a mother, and to basically be of service to everyone else around them. They started to think about options and choices. And one of them was prolonging and putting off being a mom so that they can pursue the things that lit them up and made them feel excited and as if they were participating in society in a meaningful way. Not to say that being a mom isn't meaningful, it totally is, but back then, a lot, like my mom had me when she was like 22 years old. So now 22 is considered pretty young to have a child. So it's just because times have changed. Back then it was normal. Back then, if you were 26 years old and you weren't married with a child yet, you were like an old hag. Whereas now, there are women that are freezing their eggs. They're like, bro, I did my 20s and my 30s full on in career mode, and I learned a lot about myself. And then I found this wonderful man. I was 38. I was ready, and he was ready, and we got together, and they're having babies later in life. And they end up having the emotional capacity and maturity to parent that kid. So we're seeing a bunch of different stuff going on in society. So I wanted to show up today and talk about the masculine, feminine energies. So, to begin, I guess we can dive in by saying, like, look, masculine and feminine energies exist both in men and in women. It just depends on the degrees, right? And really what it is that yin yang energy. It's like, you know, there's a little piece of feminine in the masculine, and there's a little bit of masculine in the feminine. And the real core goal for both women and men is authenticity. It's about being free to be your truest self. Now, where we run into problems is when we are denying ourselves the freedom of existing in our truest self. So that has nothing to do with your partner. That has everything to do with you. And when you are not existing in your truest self, then you are going to create a situation in your relationships where you are reliant on that partner to fill your emptiness, to fill your void, to be a certain way so that you feel safe and protected and guided and good. Meanwhile, to a degree, yes, you definitely, like as a woman, you definitely want to know that the person that you're with has your back, can protect you, you know, has your, just has like this masculine, like, I got you, I'm going to take care of you. So the key to this is to get really honest and get very true as to what you really want. What do you really want? For men out there, you know, what does a feminine female look like to you? And are you able to articulate that? And are you able to understand what that is, and when it is not in front of you and you're on a date or you're in a relationship and you're just like, this is not what this is supposed to be. Understanding what that is and articulating that so that the woman could understand and be free to be in that softer feminine place. Oftentimes we see a lot of women who are super high powered, they have great careers, they make a great amount of money, they're owning homes, they're doing their thing, and they themselves don't understand why they need a man. And I'm like, you don't need a man, you want a man. That's the difference. So when women walk around in their very masculine, you know, essence, which they should not, but and whatever, they start saying, I don't need a man, I pay my mortgage, I bought my car, I have all my stuff, like, I don't need a man. That is a masculine repelling energy. What man wants to hear that? But when you say in a very soft feminine way, and you don't lead with all of your accomplishments, and you don't lead with the fact that you own your home or you have a condo or you pay your own bills, whatever your thing is, when you're just able to hang out, right? And just let the conversation go where it goes, and let that person, let that man uncover the layers of who you are, and just be generous and giving. And instead of leading with that, which is oftentimes repelling, just let him get to that eventually. Wouldn't it be nice if you went, ladies, on a few dates with a guy, never mentioned anything about your home, never mentioned anything, right? And then you hang out with them, and then you develop rapport and trust and affinity, and you decide, okay, I've been hanging out with this guy a month, I'm ready to have him see how I live and where I live. And now it's the night where he comes over and he shows up and he's really impressed with how you live. Maybe you own a home, maybe you have a beautiful condo, maybe you have, you know, an apartment, but it's impeccable and it's just set up cute and you handle yourself. And he's going to go in there and he's going to be like, wow, like, this is beautiful. Like, you really created a beautiful life for yourself. Yeah, I did. But think about it. You're already in it a month. He already has connected to you. He already feels like, I like this girl. There's something about her. Why? Because you were feminine and you were interested and you asked questions about him and his upbringing, and you knew what kind of questions that you needed to ask so that you can determine if this guy is for you or not. And then finally you decided, okay, I think he's a cool enough dude. I'm going to have him over. I'm going to cook dinner. He took me out on a few dates. It's going to be the nice time where now I'm going to like offer to cook together and have that kind of date. And he comes over and he might be a little intimidated by what you have and what you created for yourself. But that's not an excuse to rub it in his face and make him feel less than because you accomplished stuff. Now, there are many women out there who are going to listen to this and be like, yeah, but like, who the hell wants to be with a broke ass man? Either do the same for me as I can do for myself or better, but don't fall beneath. Like, I get that. Trust me, girls. I get it. You bust your ass. You built a business or whatever it is that you're doing for yourself professionally. I get it. I coach people like this all the time. But I am telling you, ladies, that you are not also balancing the feminine side. And it's not to say that you downplay your accomplishments. I'm just saying you don't have to lead with them and you don't have to use them as a guard, as armor to protect yourself against the big bad wolf of a man. It just shows that you're not confident when you're just, I don't need a man. Lisa Morhaime weighs in and says, but the guy usually asks questions about where you live and tries to ask what you have in the beginning. Interesting. So in my Dating with Power and Purpose program, it's a one-on-one program. It's very immersive. I help people handle the responses to those kinds of questions so that they are responding in a way that is appropriate for the amount of time that you're investing in this person. A lot of times guys will try to find out what you have and how you do for you because A, they've been burned by gold diggers before and they don't want any part of that. Or B, they're broke ass and they're looking for a sugar mama to mooch off of. So I give it to you strong and straight. I'm not bullshitting anybody, right? I balance the feminine, I balance the masculine. And there are plenty of women out there who are doing exceptionally well for themselves. And they're hanging out with these basic guys who are using them for their financial solvency. Lisa, can you help me figure it out if you're the right girl for me? I'm not interested in dating and I'm tired of him asking what is the feminine response. My love, too much there. What I encourage you to do is to go, because these comments keep going. So if you have a lot for me and I want to really help you, head on over to lovequestcoaching.com. There you will see a button that says free love life assessment. You click on it and you tell me everything that's going on with you, where you're thinking you're being tripped up, and I will give you specific insights especially for you. Lisa weighs in again and says, definitely, I notice guys do that a lot, but I also think it's a cultural thing. Interesting. It could be a cultural thing. I mean, it depends on where you are. A lot of people, like I said, there are a lot of guys out there who have been taken by beautiful women who know how to hustle and they're gold diggers. And, you know, they get swooped up in the mystique of having this beautiful woman. And in actuality, she's just, oh, look at this. My shirt is completely not connected because I was laying out. I was laying out and I threw the shirt on and it was like this. Did you see? I was like this. But I figured it out. It's like one of those like tops that has like the two things. All right, anyway, I'm being a girl right now. So I did the first 15 minutes with this thing like completely crooked. Oh my God. Okay, so yes, there are guys out there who will definitely ask the pointed questions. Good for them for doing so, because they want to know that you're not a gold digger. They want to know that you're self-reliant, that you're self-sufficient, but that doesn't mean that you have to give it all away, right? It doesn't mean that you have to just be like, oh, I own my home and, you know, I bought it last year and I moved in and I own everything. And so like, if we get together and this works, you're going to need to move in with me, honey, because I'm not selling my house. Like that kind of energy is repelling. You don't want to be that. You don't want to give that away. It's just not, it's too soon. You can work out those details later. Like fall in love first, because you never know. You don't know anything about this person, about this man. For all you know, he could be like, you know, really cool. You own your house. I own 10 and I rent them all out. So if, you know, we get serious, we can rent yours out and then we can join forces and buy something else. You don't know yet. And a lot of times women shoot themselves in the foot because they're giving away too much and they're doing it from a very guarded, like, kind of energy, as opposed to a chilled out, laid back, like, tell me about yourself. You seem really interested. I was very excited to go out with you tonight. being complimentary, being very soft, very feminine. This was something that I will tell you guys and girls that I had to learn. I had to step into that. And I will say that as I started to become trained to be a coach, there was a lot of stuff that I had to uncover and deal with for myself, a lot of healing that I needed to do. And as I started to do more and more and more and more of that, I became softer, more compassionate to myself so I can be compassionate to other people. I started to be a little more owning my truth. And if something didn't rub me right, I was able to express it, but in a way that wasn't chastising or judgmental or bringing someone else down in order to make my point. And also, I was not any longer taking responsibility for other people's feelings. If you came at me in a certain way and I didn't like it, we're going to have an issue. And I had no problem stepping into that, but in a way that was firm and curt and to the point, but holding my own and holding my own space. So how do we do this when we're talking about masculine and feminine energy? So one of the things to ask yourself, if you're trying to figure out, like, am I too masculine in the world? Like, am I a woman that kind of leans too much masculine? Ask yourself how you show up in the world. Are you operating in a place of guarded, fearful, I gotta watch out for me, other people can lie to me, people can do me wrong? Or are you open? Are you coming at it from an open, adventurous, like, I know how to have boundaries and I know how to set someone straight, but I don't need to chastise them or verbally emasculate them or, be nasty or just rough, right? I know how to have boundaries in a way that makes a guy wanting more. Making a guy be like, damn, like, that chick is high value. Like, that's the chick I introduced to my family, right? Like, that's what guys are doing. They're on dates and they're evaluating, is this a chick for one night? Is this a chick, like a girlfriend that I can hang with, but I'm not going to really include her in my world? Or is this chick like wife material? And they'll know pretty quickly based on how you carry yourself. So oftentimes women who are very masculine, they'll find that they're attracting men who friend zone them, men who want to hang out with them, but they don't really want anything serious, men who might be users, beta men who are weak, fixer-uppers, guys who are just damaged and they just are looking for someone to mooch off of, emotionally mooching off of them as well as financially. Let's see, what else? They might find also like very hardcore narcissistic men where they elevate them and they give them that love and they treat them like that princess, and then they bait and switch them and it ends up being super hurtful, throws them off on their ass. It's awful. So when you say about, when you're looking at your life and you're like evaluating, how do you show up in the world? Are you in a place of mostly ego and fear? Do you find that you're making your decisions from a very guarded place, or are you making decisions from a place of love and faith? Meaning, however way this rolls, I'm good. Why? Because my worthiness doesn't come from another person. My worthiness comes from source, God, force, whatever way you want to call it, God, Allah, however way you roll, like, your worthiness comes from that. And when you know that, you start operating from a place of love and faith, no longer fear and ego and trying to like prove rightness. You start to just chill out and be like, I just want to know you better. That's all, and tell me about yourself. And if they ask you about yourself, about what you have, which like Lisa brought up earlier, you're able to say, I've been blessed. I have a wonderful career. I love what I do. And it afforded me a really nice life. I live in a lovely home, and I have a dog, and I have friends, and I go on vacations, and I'm just really, really blessed. I work very hard for it, but I enjoy it. And at this point in my life, I'm ready for a serious commitment because I want to share this stuff that I created for myself. I created a really nice life for myself, and I want to be able to invite someone in and learn about what they created too, right? Like, we all just created something for ourselves. So tell me about you. Notice, I didn't say that I own my home. I didn't say anything of anything, nothing. I just showed enthusiasm, gratitude. I showed that I was excited. I showed that I can give you a little, but I will reserve a little for me. That's a very high value way to communicate with a man, especially in the very, very beginning. And this is the kind of stuff that I teach women how to do in my Dating with Power and Purpose program. It's all the stuff that I had to learn the hard way by trial and error, a lot of reading, workshops, healing my own codependency, and really understanding who and where my value came from. And once I got clear on that, then I was able to relax and I was able to just, come in. Now, Lisa, if they're asking you specifically, like what they ask you, do you own your home? Like, that's a massive red flag. I would respond to that with, that's an interesting question. Why is that important to you? That's the best way. When you're a little off put by a question, the best response is, that's an interesting question. Why is that important to you? Because you want to know where they're coming from. You are not giving it away. You're not here to be like, yeah, I own my home, I have my car, I have this, I have that, I do this, I do that. I don't know you from anything, honey. So I want to know why that question matters to you. So in a very pleasant way, you'd be like, I'm actually, you have me intrigued. Why is that important to you? And then you give them the space so that they might be able to say to you, well, I've been burned before. Really? What happened? Well, I dated this girl for 2 years and she was like, yeah, I have a job and this and that. And she was like a massage therapist, or she was whatever her thing was. And then as we started dating more and more and more, she started to reveal how financially screwed she was. She was in debt for $20,000. She had an ex-boyfriend that used her, or whatever. Whatever the drama was, it unfolded, and now this man was ruined by his former relationship, and he's projecting that onto you, and he wants to make sure that he's not going to get burned again. Fair. Completely fair. Totally fair. However, there is a way to answer that question, and when he reveals why he's interested in that question, you then can be very feminine about it, right? Now that you've given him the safe space to be vulnerable, just simply by asking, why is that important to you? It's not judgment. It's just, I want to get to know you better. Why is that important to you? It seems like, I don't know, did something happen to you? And then they open up. And when they open up and you listen intently and you're like, oh, and you're agreeing with them and you're like, oh, no wonder. Oh my God, honey, I'm so sorry that happened to you. Like, like she took you for that much money, really? And you were like, really? You were looking after her children and then she just up and left and now you have emotional connection to the kids. Like, oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. Of course you're going to feel like you invested a lot. Oh, and how are you now? How are you now? Well, I'm over it now, but that was a major scar. I really invested in that. Of course you did. You did. Well, okay. So I'm very different from that. I'll give you a little background. I have my own business. I do love life coaching, and I didn't always. I used to work in public relations and marketing, and I saved a bunch of money so that I can start my business. And then I was like trying to get my business going, and I did it, and I love it, and I help people, and I'm all good, and like all good. I'm incredibly financially responsible. In fact, it's something that I have as a very serious value. And I'm happy that you're bringing this up because we share the same value that, financial responsibility is a very big deal to me too. So yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from. And do you see, I didn't reveal, do I own my home? Or am I giving you my tax report? I'm not doing any of that. I am simply validating this person, empathizing with what he went through, creating a space where he could, without judgment, reveal what happened, clarifying that I understand where you're coming from and I'm a bit different. In fact, I'm a lot different. These are my values. This is how I operate in my life, so that you could simmer him down, make him feel like, oh, okay, she's got her shit together. I don't need to give him a tour of my house on the first date to prove that I have my shit together. I do not. It's an energy. It's how you speak. It's how you show that you handle yourself in the world. I'm hopeful, Lisa, that that helped you well. If you want to, we can do a deeper dive into your specific thing. You can hit me up on a DM and we can go in it deeper. I'm happy to help you out. So I just want to like give you an example of a feminine energy when it is in fear versus a feminine woman when she is in power, when she is truly in her feminine power. So when a woman is in her fear, more of a masculine, it's going to evoke a more masculine energy, because a masculine energy is more guarded, protective, like I have to assert, I have to prove my rightness, I have to show you where I stand in the ground. It's a very like kind of energy, right? Whereas a feminine energy is much more like this kind of vibe. Like, you know, it's just like, hey, you know, like I'm just going to sip my cocktail and listen to this beautiful man talk to me about the adventures that he's had with travel and how he handles his business. And I'm just going to sit here and be like, wow, what a fantastic life you live. Oh my God. Amazing. What a story. And you're just going to be like, wow, tell me more about that. That sounds amazing. And you're going to encourage. It's a very encouraging, open, supportive, interesting, intentive listening, not interrupting. Just like, wow, tell me more about that. And how old were you when you left home for the first time? My God, that must have been crazy for you. And then you let them talk and you let them, and as they're talking, you're just like taking them in. And that ends up evoking one of the best compliments that a woman could ever get from a man, which is, I really liked talking to you. I feel like I can tell you anything. Really? Oh, that's so nice. I'm glad you feel that way. I had a great time with you. I want to learn more about you. Well, next time I want to learn more about you. So now there's a next time. You left them wanting more, right? Because you were so interested in them and you were just like, there for them, supporting their story in a very feminine way, that now they're intrigued about, wow, like I spent the whole first date talking about me. I want to know more about you. Okay, well, what would you like to know? Ask away, very feminine, very like, well, what do you want to know? Because I'm not giving you any, it's that defensive. You can't be that way. It's got to be very like soft and like, well, what would you like to know? Where'd you grow up? And then you start talking about how you grew up and all this stuff. So one of the ways that a feminine, a female, a woman shows up in fear is the following. It's the perception that if I'm too feminine, I'm going to be perceived as a doormat. I think feminine is weakness. I don't want to be weak. I don't want a man to walk all over me. I don't want him to control me, and I don't want to control anyone either. I don't want to be a nag. I don't like that energy of being nagging. Another thing of a feminine in fear, you will find that you struggle to come to orgasm. Come to orgasm. Pun. Anyway, a lot of women that I coach who tell me that they struggle with stepping into that freedom, that sexual freedom. I was this in my marriage. I was so in my masculine that like I couldn't. And my husband, my God, my ex-husband was so super fire hot. Oh my God. But we took it to a level, but like I always looked at him like, oh my God, I wish I could take it to a whole other level. But because I was so in my masculine, I didn't allow him to take the lead in many ways. And it like messed everything up. It's such a shame because, oh my God. Fine. Anyway, now I handled that. I conquered it. And like the freedom that you have sexually when you can just step into that feminine place and sit down with your man and be like, I like when you do this to me. I like this. Here's what I'm afraid of, but I want to do it. But I don't want to do it alone. Like you get vulnerable and you're able to let them stand up and take the lead a little, like they love that, and then it gets really hot. So anyway, another thing is, when a woman is too much in her feminine, she is operating from a get shit done kind of mode, where she's too into the doing and she's not into the being. She's attacking her to-do list. Gotta do this, gotta do that, gotta do this, the kids, gotta pick them up, gotta do this, gotta make sure that this is done, and that is done, and this is done, and the other thing's done. That it puts her in this place of like, go, 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 where she feels exhausted, she doesn't feel supported, she's just in this like fight or flight, go, go, go mode, where if she does not have proper self-care, and she does not know how to articulate what it is that she needs, and step into that feminine vulnerability to be like, okay, so I'm going to do these 5 things today. I'm going to tell you that by 5 p.m., I am going to be so exhausted. So can we order food? Can we just like put the kids to sleep by like 8, 9? Just have them in their rooms because I need like my head scratched and I need to like watch Jimmy Fallon and just chill on your chest and relax, or whatever it is that your late night ritual is. Like, ask for what you need and go to that man and empower him to be like, baby girl, I got you. I know what you need. You need me to take over the kitchen, order some takeout or make some steak, whatever. I got you. I got it. And if you don't communicate your needs, they're not going to know. So, you know, instead of barking orders, because when women are in their masculine too much, they get fed up and they start barking and nagging, and it's coming from an energy of fear. It's coming from that, I need this. And instead of it being open and chill and pre-planning and knowing yourself, right? Like if you're living in your masculine, you're going to need that balance. And you can go to your man and you can be like, oh my God, can we just have like a weekend together? Can we get the kids to like my sisters so they can hang with their cousins, just so like you and I can book a hotel somewhere and just like have, you know, sex fest in the strange for like 48 hours. Like I just need to reconnect to you, wear something hot, like go to dinner, seduce my husband, seduce my man, like be feminine and ask for that, because otherwise you get all wrapped up in the day where you're living your lives on this hamster wheel. Now that applies to couples, but you know, which I see all the time too. And that's what happened to me in my marriage. And what I avoid, and it's a work, dude. It's a work in progress. It's a full-on work in progress. Like when I'm in my relationship, I can see myself teetering from like full-on masculine to like full-on feminine to somewhere in between, kind of tomboy, you know, and I temper it. Like I catch myself. And before I wasn't aware of this at all. Before I was just like, this is who I am, take it or leave it, fuck off if you don't like it. And it's like, wow. But now it's more like, okay, so you have all of these things going on this week. What do you need from me to help you achieve what you want to achieve? And then I'm going to share with you what I got going on. And then I'll ask the same of you, and together we'll figure it out. We're a team. It's a very like masculine, feminine dance that you're doing as a team. Now, a woman who is truly in her power, like when I'm feeling most feminine badass, like feminine badass, not feminine like I'm talking like I got this, I'm good, where it's that perfect blend of masculine, feminine. But I tend to ask for help when I am feeling like super feminine and brave and courageous and very like confident. I'll ask for help. And you know, it's not necessarily asking help from the man. It's asking for help from other women in your tribe. It's asking for help from your parents. It's asking for help from a friend. So when you say ask for help, like the problem that women have, and I think a lot of men will attest to this, is a lot of women want their man to be their be-all, end-all, everything. Their therapist, their chef, their mechanic, their plumber, their stylist, their best girlfriend. Like, you can't do that. You cannot do that. And I know like people out there are like, oh, but my partner should be my everything. No. And this is where people get tripped up. And this is where this masculine feminine thing kicks in. When you make your partner your everything, major major trip up. And here's why. It is impossible for them to be your everything, and they shouldn't be your everything. Again, your everything is source energy. Always. It's the up there into you and through. It's everything. If your connection with your source energy, again, faith, God, whatever it is that you know truly is the keeper of your worthiness, the keeper of your guidance, who's going to show you in your gut what is true for you. If you're disconnected with that, you're going to look outside to people, to career, to money, to outside forces, outside things, people, to fill that up. That is not their job. Because guess what? Let's say you're in a marriage 25 years and your husband dies or your wife dies. So now what? They're not there to fill your cup anymore. You've been looking at them for your worthiness your whole life. They go away. Now what? Where does your worthiness come from? You're not entrained to know that your worthiness comes from something greater and divine that is then shared. You are a worthy person. You know you are worthy. You come to the relationship already worthy, and you share a worthy whole person with another person. And from that space, I promise you, you will exist very confidently in your feminine. And you won't take shit at the same time. And you'll know how to put boundaries and assert yourself, but you'll do it in a soft, feminine way where you will have this man chasing you like willingly, like not chasing you from like a submissive, like, you know, beta man. I'm saying like pursuit, sexy ass pursuit. A man who knows how to be like, I'll give you an example. Calls you up and says, this weekend I'm taking you out. Oh my God. Okay, where are we going? We're going to go out. We're going to go someplace like dressed up nice. I'm in the mood. Hot. Or, you know, maybe dressing up nice and going out isn't your thing. So let's say it's, baby, this weekend, get ready. We're going on a hiking trip. We are? Yes, we're going to camp out under the stars. We're going to look out on the stars. I'm going to have sex with you in the strange, in the mountains, in the woods, whatever your thing is. But like you're putting that together. Why? You inspired the man to take the lead, right? So in my, again, I coach people around this all the time because all the women want that, right? Oh, I wish a man would just man up. Where are the men that just can man up? Okay, but to get them inspired to man up, you have to step into your feminine and you have to give them the space so that they can man up. And there's a way of speaking to men. There's a way of giving them credit and appreciation, and not in a kiss-ass way, but like in a genuine way. And you tell them, you know, I like it when you do this. Oh, you know what I love so much? Because let me tell you, men want to please women. Unless they're like highly narcissistic and they're just out for their own, and that's a whole other separate thing to get coached on. But typically men, good guys, they want to please women. They're just like, show me the manual, show me what you need and I'll do it. Show me how to show you love and I'll do it. So when a woman is in power, she asks for help. She's very collaborative. Her strengths comes from collaboration, a very win-win kind of conversation. She's incredibly nurturing. Tell me more about that. It sounds like there's something going on there. You know, it sounds like what I had said earlier about the guy who really wants to know about how you live. You know, he's asking that for a reason. He's been burned before. So asking, wow, that sounds like it's really important to you. Tell me more about why that is. You know, asking these open-ended questions to show that you're interested. A man will like open up, like, oh my God, he'll be like, this girl was amazing. Like, she was just interested in me. She just took interest in me. A woman in their feminine, like I just described, is able to shift the energy. They're able to intuitively understand what's going on and be like, oh, he's scared. He's just scared. He doesn't know me from anything. And this other girl burned him. So I get it. He's just scared, you know. So I'm not going to reveal anything because I don't know this person, but I'm going to at least put his fears and like ease his fears a bit and just tell him a little bit about where I'm coming from, mainly my values. A woman in her power is incredibly an inspiration. She leads from a place of inspiration. She'll look at everybody around her and see the best in everybody and inspire them to level up. So if you've ever had the compliment of a man saying, "You make me want to be better," that is like, I don't give a crap. You can tell me, "Oh, your body's hot," or "Oh, your boobs are great and they're real." I don't care. If you tell me you make me want to be better, oh my God, like now you're speaking to my soul. So that's the trait of a woman who's truly in her feminine power. Another one is she's incredibly soulful. She's very intuitive. She can read vibes. She can look around a room and be like, "Oh, this person's a little off. This person's," and hold her own frame, hold her own energy, but still be nurturing and still go to these people and make them feel better for just having a conversation with her. She is in a place of beingness. She's not necessarily always in a place of doing. And when she is doing, she's asking herself, who do I want to be as I do this task? If I'm picking my kids up from school, who do I want to be? How do I want to show up for them? She's incredibly intentional. When a female is operating in her true power, she is super intentional. She's also faithful. She's all about, you know what, I can do to a point, and then I just got to let go and let God. I just got to let it go and let it happen. I can't ask about the how. I just have to allow. And that is the kind of faith that inspires everyone around her. That's the kind of leader. Let's say you're a feminine and you're a woman and you're at work and you have a team of people and they're all freaking out and they're like, "What are we going to do? We owe this report. We're not going to have time to do it. Oh my God." You can stand there as the leader, the feminine, in your feminine. And you can just be quiet and let them freak out until they shut up. And you can say, "Ladies, gentlemen, we're all going to be okay. We're going to be fine." And you know how I know this? Because we're all super smart people. We're all super smart people. And I have a plan. And I'm going to explain it. And I need your help with it. Can't do it by myself. And I trust that all of you are going to rise to the occasion. And I'm here to support you so that you can shine. I want you all to do the best work. We're going to really have an opportunity to do the best work in this. And if you can lead from that way, if you can lead your household from that way, trust me when I tell you, your feminine, like badass goddess, queen energy is going to be the thing that shifts the energy for everyone who you come in contact with. It can make the world a really, really great place. So I am really hopeful that this helped you out. If you have issues struggling with your masculine and your feminine and you're feeling too much like raw, gotta fight energy and too much, I gotta prove myself and too scared and afraid and presuming that guys are trying to like take advantage of you or whatever, and you find it hard to just kind of like sit back and be like, the stage is yours, my friend. I'm just here to learn about you. Reach out to me. Let's get this sorted out and handled. A lot of women struggle with this. A lot of women out there are letting go of really good guys, really cool, good guys who just want to love up on them. And the reason they're doing that is because they have these false beliefs and these things that are from way back, the programming from way back, that are tripping them up and are making them have assumptions that are not serving them well and are actually repelling the very love that they want and deserve. So I'm Lisa Concepcion. You can find me at lovequestcoaching.com, where again, you can take your free love life assessment and reach out to me there with any ideas for future videos. If you have questions or anything, I can sort out for you. Happy to hear from you. Thanks so much. Much love and good night.